Howdy, everybody. I'm Kaushik. I'm the project co-lead on Theo, the campus tutoring app, and this is a final presentation. So the problem we want to start, the problem we wanted to solve with Project Theo is that a lot of tutoring services and websites are currently teaches a student, and studies have shown that when students learn from fellow students, it leads to them having higher learning outcomes, as shown by the study conducted by Tullis and Goldstone. So we wanted to solve this problem by making a platform for the students to connect with and tutor other students. So ideally, this platform should allow students to connect with other students from their own university and quickly allow them to make payment, quickly allow them to meet and allow them to also make payments through the application. Our project Theo, is a online marketplace for tutors where tutees can find tutors and make appointments, and then those tutors can also receive requests for those appointments and then approve or deny them. Appointments can be edited, and then these updates are viewed by both the tutor and the tutee before they approve it. And then appointments can also be searched based on availability, subject, and information that are known about the tutor. So currently, payments and meetings are not done in-house, but in the future, maybe like a future cohort can add like a payment processor or some way for students to meet through the website. But currently, the tutee and the tutor have to share contact information for that to be done. So some of the social impact that our product brings about is it fosters a sense of student community by encouraging peer-to-peer connection and collaboration, and it creates a supportive campus community where knowledge and experience are shared. It also helps further education by making tutoring more accessible and personalized, and encourages student-led growth outside of the classroom. And then it also helps empower students, so tutors can gain leadership, teaching, and entrepreneurial skills, and learners gain ownership over their own academic development. And finally, it helps increase access to education by offering flexible and on-demand help tailored to specific students' needs, which may not necessarily be offered by traditional university services. So the architecture/tech stack of a project, we used Django to serve the back end, and then React to serve the front end. And then we deployed an app on DigitalOcean using the app platform deployment feature. And then we hosted all the data on a Postgres database. Some of the features that we implemented is a homepage/landing page with basic site information, Google OAuth to log in, profile customization with different contact methods like Discord, email, phone number, LinkedIn, stuff like that. A flow to become a tutor. You can create, edit, find appointments that other people have created, and join appointments. And then finally, there's a custom calendar that you can use to easily visualize when you have appointments. So we're about to start the demo for our website.
Okay, so this is the landing page that the user gets directed when they go on the website. So on the top, we have a nav bar with links on the left that brings us to the different parts of the landing page. The first part of the landing page is just like a very like catchy. It gets the user's attention. You know, students teaching students. It's a nice like slogan. In the center is our About Us, which you can also navigate using the nav bar, where we talk about our purpose, who we are, and then how we are wanting to make a difference in the world. And then the last part of the landing page is the How It Works page, where you can also navigate using the nav bar. But this is just a basic overview of how our web app works and how the student can expect to use it. And then in the footer, we just have some basic resource links where the user can, go to our About Us, contact us, or other links related to becoming a tutor or wanting to like sponsor us. And then at the top, you can log in using Google, which I'll let Owen talk about that.
Yeah, so we implemented Google OAuth authentication to allow users to sign in securely using their Google account. We also prevent unauthenticated users from accessing most of our pages. When a user signs in for the first time with using Google OAuth, they automatically become a tutee. And then we also added the feature to log out so users can change accounts.
We also implemented a calendar to help users visually keep track of what sessions they have signed up for with a variety of views from month, week, day, and agenda to see all events they've signed up for. It also includes real-time tracking with that little yellow line you see. And if you click on a session itself, it will open up a view with more details on the signed up session, which a tutor can then edit if they wish to, or uh, view the profile of the tutor.
When you're logged in as a tutor, on the tutor dashboard, you will see any student confirmations that you may need to complete. And currently, this tutor has no student confirmations, but you can also create a session. So if you click on the Create Session button, you can enter the information, like title, subject, course number of a tutoring session you want to create, and then create the session, which will be displayed to tutees on the tutee profiles. So, and this is the Find a Tutor section where the sessions will be displayed. So you can search for specific sessions, so such as like appointment details, like the subject, specific times or days you want the session, and as well as tutor info. You can click on a session and it'll pull up all of the details, and you have the option to view the profile of a tutor or book the session.
Speaking of profiles, there are a couple things here. This account, once again, is signed up as a tutor, so this is what you can see. You can edit your profile and add everything you need to, contact info, what school you go to. You can add courses that you've taken so students can look up by course. There's some additional info here as well. This is where you can add all your personal information that you think either a tutor or a tutee will need in order to better understand you on this app. From the tutor side, that's mainly it. We will now discuss stuff from the tutee side. From the most part, it starts the same. You have the same continue with Google. The main differences being you have uh, nothing on the tutor dashboard because you're not a tutor. It just asks you if you would like to become a tutor, and you can find tutoring sessions and join them. Currently, we do have a permission error where you are not allowed to see these permissions. We're working on fixing that. That should be coming out soon. There will be a difference on the accounts between tutors and non-tutors. So as we can see here, we no longer have courses because courses are not necessary for a tutee to have. They're really only for the tutor. Once again, though, you can still edit everything. One other thing, you can also look at other people's profiles. So as an example, you should be able to view other people's profiles from the session information. However, the session information isn't propagating correctly here. You can see here that here we have Michael, one of our back-end engineers. This is their profile, and look at that. They've got a bunch of stuff here. I think I would tutor under this guy. Last but not least, we have our API documentation.
So in the backend, we use Django, of course, to serve an API, and there's multiple different models here that allow us to have a lot of all the functionality, and you can call all of it through the API. We have a basic user model that and a basic base profile model that just the tutees have. And when you sign up as a tutor, you get upgraded to a tutor profile, which has more information, and also additional courses models and the school models. The school model has bunch of different options that are populated that you can choose from. And the session models is where the appointments happen and where you can confirm and join and leave appointments. And a lot of that functionality comes from the additional session 2T model, which lets you have different confirmation logic. Once everyone confirms, the session's automatically confirmed, and once the session is edited, everyone is automatically unconfirmed, and it is set as a draft again. And you can do all of this through the API.
All right. So, what are some challenges that we've come across? Well, I think the biggest challenge we came across as a group was the profile page. The first iteration that we had was buggy and unintuitive, a little bit cumbersome to work with. And after fully implementing it and still not getting it right, we decided that we just needed to do a full-on re-implementation. It was a massive time commitment, but we needed it, and we're actually quite proud of how it turned out otherwise. That was probably the hardest decision and challenge that we had as a group. Some other things we came across, though, were authentication. We needed to securely identify users. We didn't want to store our own usernames and passwords. That doesn't sound very safe. So we use Google OAuth as our identity provider. We also use environment variables for configuration between production and development. So everything just works properly. Connecting the back end and front end was also big problems. Essentially, the front end needed to use API calls, but it wasn't always clear how to do it. So we usually had a back end person who was on call, so to speak, to help assist the front end people who may need API calls or to generate entirely new ones if there was something that we were missing. Last but not least, persistence. React is notoriously bad at keeping things alive longer than a single page. So we use local storage and cookies to send information and keep it persistent throughout the app. Our team mainly interacted with each other on Discord. That's how we talked. We had our back end and front end team, but honestly, we were one big team overall. We had a GitHub project board, which described all of our tasks that we were working on, so we can keep track of what we need to work on, who's currently working on what, and what we've finished so far. We had thrice weekly Scrum meetings, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, where we discussed our progress and answered any questions that we had with each other, so on and so forth. Contribution wise, well, we got a lot done, so I'm not going to go into this in too much detail, but as you can see, we had our back end team who had worked on a bunch of stuff, mainly on the back end. We also had our front end people who were tip typing away all the time. We're also especially proud that we had our high school mentees be able to do some work on the app itself. So some lessons we learned from this progress or process is number one, make more careful estimations. Me and Kaushik, as the team lead, were very optimistic in the very beginning, and we, especially with the profile page redesign, started running out of time here at the end. So just being a little more careful with how much we estimated we could get done with is something we could take on to the next project with us. Documenting everything is also important. We documented as much as we could, but there's always more documentation that we could do, especially around errors. Ensuring clear direction being given is something we learned. Sometimes we would have features that we wanted and we would describe them, but not well enough. And the devs would come out and they'd make something amazing, but it would still be missing some stuff that we needed. And we'd have to do some back and forth to get everyone to where it needed to be. I think being more clear from the get-go would be a lot more helpful. Integration between the front end and back end, always the longest part of any feature we made. So making sure you're on top of the ball there and get that started early was something that we learned we needed to do. Being more realistic with goals goes with number one, about just making sure that we don't overpromise. Starting CI/CD earlier. We have automated tests now that run automatically when things get merged into main and when you make pull requests so that we can see very quickly whether or not the changes that we made are breaking or not. However, that was not there for a majority of the project. Getting that set up earlier would have made it a lot easier, made it so we didn't have to test a lot of our things locally and waste some time. That goes with number seven, implementing a testing framework early. And that is our project. Thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, send them to David Kibo, I guess.